because we set the bar very low. Oh, yeah. Welcome to the low bar stream. These idiots allowed a team. Only one thing we can guarantee: this song for loser show is free. Always free. Always free. Our host is named Blue Collar. He's simple and not complex. Try not to laugh when he cries, like all the women do during sex. They all laugh at him. The other guy thinks he's cool, but he sounds like a giant tool. He calls himself the Toxic Lord. He'll ramble on and make you bored. He rambles the fuck on. Welcome to the Low Bar Show. They have no knowledge to bestow. We hope that you can stay away, 'cause this stream is probably a mistake. Welcome to the Low Bar Show. Woo! Whoa, to the Low Bar Show.
You and I are standing guard in one of the last great open spaces.
That looks like a promising place.
The place I might be able to see myself.
Not bad, huh?
Not bad. Yeah. Do I really ramble on that much? Am I that bad? All right. I'll
Yes.
try not to. I am? Okay. Well, I'll just go.
Yeah,
I'll
did
fuck
you-
myself then.
how did your Jack Reacher? You know that. Come on, man.
Yeah, no, I appreciate
our
that.
video.
Yeah.
But
Shout out.
yeah,
Jack
no, that was so fun making that, especially like, I figured everything just us being gay, like Dumb and Dumber, and of course RRR, the greatest bromance of all time.
Yeah, yeah. Totes.
You haven't had a best friend, so you guys are doing squats on each other's shoulders and stuff.
Oh,
and
for
doing
sure.
the manly
Yeah.
handshake.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Fucking love that movie.
Brings back those memories. Brings back those memories.
Yeah. All right, man. So I wasn't sure that it's funny how many low bar reviews we never plan on, but because I wasn't sure if you wanted to see a Kevin Costner Westerner, but I'm looking forward to talking about this. Unfortunately, Lance, he's going tomorrow, but he's been promoting this as well because
Yeah.
yet another film, Lord Toxic, in 2024, where I've seen one trailer in the past 6 months. I've seen no fucking ads, no promotion, no interviews,
yeah.
nothing.
If I was
And-
if I was a suspicious person, I would say that there might be a reason for the lack of promotion for these certain films.
Yeah, I wonder what that could be.
I can't quite put my Irish white finger on it, but I'm willing to bet that there's some sort of possibility that it has something to do with a lack of DEI.
Yeah. Also,
this film.
this happens to be a month. He put this out in the month of June. What a great, unfortunately, guys. I would say that we always talk about spoilers and stuff, but because this is part 1 of 2, part 2 comes out in August, and apparently they might do some spin-offs. I'm not sure what if he's going to make
Really?
a Horizon universe, what's going on with this, but
Oh, wow.
I wouldn't say that there's too much to spoil because this is part 1. We have more to come, but yeah, I mean, there was I wouldn't say controversy. So the biggest thing was, have you watched Yellowstone?
Oh yeah. I'm big
Okay, yeah.
Yellowstone fan.
Now, I mean, I know it's on my to-do list. Everyone says watch it, but like now, supposedly he left Yellowstone to make this, and he wanted to come back to Yellowstone. They were pissed off him and said, "We'll keep making it without you." And he's like, "I want to come back, but this is more important. This is my passion project." And Kevin
Hmm.
Costner, I would say, for the most part, he's not like the A-lister, like say The Rock, for example, or Arnold. He doesn't have the biggest net worth, but to my knowledge, he dumped like basically his entire like life savings to make this fucking movie.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I'm looking right now
No,
at the
I didn't
budget.
know. I've been hearing about the Yellowstone thing for a while, and I didn't know why. I thought it was just, and you never really know because some people will say a thing is about a thing, and it
Yeah.
winds up being some other thing. You know, what was that Florence Pugh movie? Where they look like they're in the 50s, but it's like a mind bender type film. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
Well, there was like I'd have to look it up, but last year they had that movie that she was in. Oh, Don't Worry, Darling.
Okay,
And so the big controversy there, without going off on a tangent. Oh, I lied. That's a 2022 film. I'm sorry.
okay.
But the big thing with that, with the writer, excuse me, the writer and the director of it, it was Olivia Wilde, and I guess she had a romance with Harry Styles, and it was
Mm,
causing drama with Florence Pugh, and she was supposed to have Shia LaBeouf in it, and she and he had words about it, and it like she made it out to be this whole big thing, and then it was actually something else, entirely.
yeah,
So you can never really be sure until you get like closer and closer to when, and they were embargoed from doing press for a while because of the writer strike and stuff. So
yeah,
we didn't really know what was going on, to be honest. I didn't.
yeah. Well, so I did look up. So according to the sources, I've Googled anybody else watching this. His net worth is about 400 million, and the budget for this is 100 million. He put in 40 million of his own money, which for an actor that just doesn't happen. They always say actors don't pay for their
Yeah,
own shit, and this is he wrote it, directed it, starred in it. I guess his one of his sons is 15. I couldn't tell which one's his kid, but one of his kids is in it. But this is
hmm,
this is it means everything to him, and this is the whole controversy about Yellowstone. I don't know if he's going to come back, what's going to happen with that, but this is why he's not messing with Yellowstone right now. So for him,
okay.
it's a pretty goddamn big deal, to say the least.
Yeah, well, you're a little younger than I am, so you don't really know, but back in the day, he was kind of known to do stuff like this. He had big passion projects.
Yeah.
Dances with Wolves was a
Wow.
success.
Wow.
Say that 3 times fast. Waterworld and The Postman were
I remember
not.
Waterworld, boy, the biggest at the time, the biggest box office bomb in history
Right.
when that came
So like
out.
he had been known to do stuff like this back in the day, back when I mean you say The Rock and whoever and Tom Cruise, yada yada yada. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. But back in the day, Kevin Costner was a pretty big deal. The late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
Kevin Costner was like, if it was a Kevin Costner film, he was getting asses in the seats. So
True. I think I'm just so used to like, well, because yeah, inflation. I'm just hearing like, oh, the Rocket paid over fucking 30 million for Fast and Furious. So whatever Arnold got paid. You keep hearing of these big like Tom Cruise got paid 100 million for Mission Impossible. These
sure.
massive numbers nowadays. Like, and I always felt like said Kevin Costner. I never thought of him as being like the level of Tom Cruise or Tom Hanks, or just always a great actor in his own right. But even Johnny Depp, people tend to forget that. But we're trying to do a tangent, but Johnny Depp and so Parts of the Caribbean, Johnny Depp was like almost a nobody. I mean, he was well known, but his paydays were so low because it takes that one franchise. And I always felt like Kevin Costner didn't have like that big A-list franchise to get him like them 20 or $40 million paychecks like the other guys would get.
Hmm. Yeah. No, yeah, totally. I think that, well, I don't know how you want to do this. Do you want to talk about some more trivia and things to do with the
Uh,
movie? I got
I
about
guess
an hour and a half before I got to
okay.
do Highlander. So
Okay, I guess we can just get into it. I mean, I can read the official synopsis, but how do you feel? Because we just walked out, but what is the plot and premise of this movie called Horizon: An American Saga?
oh boy. Man, where do I even begin? So it's Civil War era,
Okay,
and it's in the basic the frontier, the passage moving west, the westward passage of the Americas has sort of come to a halt in or at least a stall in a lot of ways due to the fact that we were in the middle of a civil war. We had that going on. So things were still progressing. Life happens while there's a war. It's still going to happen, but the big expansion west some of the more, I guess I would say, militant groups of the indigenous people, uh,
Yes.
formerly known as Native Americans, but politically correct, indigenous. And I'll say indigenous. I live in a Native American town, so
Well, I do
I'm
like the fact they do say Indians, which is if you're in the 1879s, you would be saying Indians. You wouldn't be saying indigenous back in
yeah.
1879.
Well, we'll touch on
Oh,
that later because I do have something to say about that. But so yeah, so some of the more militant groups of them are kind of digging in their heels and trying to put a stop to this expansion.
mm,
It's yet to be revealed, but there's somebody that's selling land out there, and almost now I don't know how stuff like this works. I've seen many movies where they have land grabs and stuff like that, and they just wanted to put bodies out there.
yeah,
So I don't really know how that worked. Like, you see Far and Away, all they had to do was do a quick little horse race and plant their flag, and they could just pick a plot of land. So that's how it was. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's historically accurate. I feel like probably this would be a little bit more historically accurate, but you have this town Horizon, which is seemingly good. It's by a river and a tributary and stuff like that. It looks like a good area of land, but you have a few people that kind of stake their claim out there, and the results of which are disastrous. They get killed in the first opening act. And then you got a preacher man kind of follows out, goes out there again. Now, quick question on that before
mhm.
is that the guy from Star Wars that passed away?
Oh, you mean
That
Max von Sydow?
No, the heavy set
Oh,
preacher man that shows up in the beginning of the movie. Is he the guy that
no.
was in Ashoka that just passed away
Oh,
recently?
you mean Ray Stevenson?
Yes, is that
I,
him?
I'm pretty sure it's not. I can double check, but
Okay.
say
Man, it could be his brother. But
this
yeah,
my
so
because I thought like that Ahsoka was his last movie. That's why.
yeah, maybe it was. And maybe that's just my mind playing tricks on me. But anywho, how so the expansion is still happening, but it's slower, and with the military stretched thin fighting the Civil War, they
Yeah,
don't have all the resources to be magistrates or garrisons to protect homesteaders that are going out there and trying to get their land. And excuse me if some of this terminology is right. I think it
well,
is. I'm not 100% sure. So what you have is this little town that's been advertised, hey, come out to Horizon, and it's like the best, we keep seeing this leaflet or this billet that's
yeah,
been put out of everybody, hey, come out and get this great land. And then we have a bunch of interconnecting stories over the course of 2 years of different people who are involved in one way or another in heading out to this land, and how it shapes up in the first chapter. So and it culminates at the end with a couple violent instances. There's some tragedies involving the Apache. Will they'll basically standing orders is to burn down anything that's any so far away from the U.S. cavalry
mm.
garrison that's been in placed out there. So, and that's what we have.
Yeah, that's why I showed that the trailer from our little bar
Yes.
because it's like it shows the pamphlet like, oh, Horizon, come out here, and like the whole Wild West where get riches and bring your family out, and it's a magical place to live, and no, it's not.
Yeah.
But well, I can say off the bat, man, this is damn sure an R-rated film by all accounts, and
Oh,
boy,
sure.
Kevin Costner has no problem if you want to see an old gritty western, you will have Indians killing kids. You will have Indians
Yeah.
getting scalped. You will have, I mean, women being butchered. At one point, not too much nudity. I think maybe one scene you see a woman topless, but they don't do the over gratuitous sexual stuff. But like
Hmm.
Kevin Costner has no problem with like arrows going through guys' throats and stuff and like in body parts. Like it's a damn sure he earned the R rating.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And it's
100%.
and it's not like it's one of the films where sometimes you do get R rating in films where they're too over the top, but the R rating and the brutality of this film fits with the storyline because it's the old fucking West. It's pre Civil War, and this is the kind of violence you would be expecting back then.
Yeah. Yeah, for
And
sure.
I would say it's never political because it's having family on a reservation and people. It's funny how in schools they wanted to always victimize natives and just act like they were perfect and always the white man evil. No, when you pick up a history book and like as somebody who's been on a reservation any of my family or friends would tell you, listen, Apaches, and also these are Apaches, not Mohawks or Algonquins or anything. But
Okay.
they're Apaches. Native Americans, they were just as violent as the white people. The only difference is the white people had smallpox and diseases and better weaponry. But Native
Yeah.
Americans, I mean, warring tribes would kill their women and children as much as white people would. So
Oh yeah.
it's not making the whole like natives are victims, white people are bad guys. No, it's both sides killing each other because there was murder and massacres on the white man's side and the Indian side. In fact, you see some natives killing each other.
We do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I respect that for Kevin Costner. Because it's so easy, especially in 2024, to make a movie about white man bad, Indian man good. It's not that, which I like. I like that and respected. That's the realistic version of history. History is not as clean cut as yourself as a military man. The whole history is written by the winners.
History is written by the winners, and it's. I like how this movie does it. It's definitely one of those things where it is definitely a show don't tell. I
Yeah,
am glad that I did not drink a lot of liquids before going to watch this movie
it's
because
3 hours.
so dense. That 3
Yeah.
hours is so dense, and it's not really something that you can miss a whole lot because you will be lost. They introduce characters,
Yeah,
they don't give exposition. You're not sure who is doing what or why.
yeah,
You don't get attached to certain characters because they're just as likely, you see a happy family, just as likely to be dead in the next scene. So, and in quite brutal fashion, the brutality is well parsed out between both the indigenous culture and the American settlers culture. So, it's just a brutal, gritty.
oh yeah,
It doesn't have a lot of fanfare and it doesn't have a lot of flair. It's just it like some of the events that happen in the film are they're just ridiculous. They're just these kind of crazy chaotic things that occur, and you're not even sure like who is the protagonist in this movie. You don't see Kevin Costner to an hour and a half into the thing, I
okay.
think.
I was waiting to see if you pointed that out. Yeah, because
Yeah.
obviously he directed it. He's starring in it. Kevin Costner's the big name, but in some of the marketing, if you watch a trailer, you may think this is a Kevin Costner starred film, and it is. But as you said, I'm watching it thinking to myself that boy, it is hard to remember. Well, almost like Dunkirk. I felt like when you have so many fucking characters, like who is the main character? And sometimes I start forgetting people's names. But yeah, Kevin Costner in a 3 hour movie, he maybe has, I'm gonna guesstimate, an hour of screen time.
I would say that's a pretty generous estimate. That's pretty. I don't even know if it was that much, man, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. If I watch it, well, I'll probably watch a second time. I would actually count how much airtime. But yeah, it's not like this isn't a 3 hour movie starring Kevin Costner from start to finish. He's
Right.
peppered into this film.
Yeah, if you think that you're gonna watch Dances with Wolves, where it's all
Yeah.
Costner all the time, like you're not gonna be happy. You're gonna be sad that's if that's what you thought. I actually didn't see that, but I did check my clock a couple times and go, "Damn, still no Kevin Costner? All right,
Yeah.
all right." Because I mean, I'd seen the trailer, I knew he was in the movie,
Yeah.
so it was just one of those things where I was like, "Wow, this is really going on." But at the same time it wasn't to the point where I was really super distracted by it.
Oh yeah.
It was a thing where I mean, I don't know, man. This is really expansive. It's really dense with characters. It's really dense with story, and
Yeah.
it's one of those things that they'll drop a character on you, and then you don't see him for 30 minutes, or they'll make you think that you're watching a story about one person and then it winds up being about somebody else
Yeah.
completely. So
Yeah, on top of I mean, the actors that Jesus Christ, the IMDb page is like fucking 50 actors. I mean, some some you don't. I mean, obviously, Costner's the main lead, but still, Sam Worthington. I forgot to look up the cast. I know Will Patton's his name, I think it is.
Will Patton's in it, yeah. Will
Yep, you
Patton,
have. Let's see, and was it
Sienna
Danny Hudson?
Miller,
Yeah,
Jenna Malone, uh, Tim Guinea, who you might remember from Blade and John Carpenter's Vampires, plays the doomed James Kitteridge guy. Danny
yeah,
Houston, who a lot of people will recognize from the first 2 seasons of Yellowstone, but you
yep.
might also recognize him from 30 Days of Night. He plays
Also,
the
yeah,
commanding officer of the cavalry station.
I always remember him being Stryker from X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Okay,
And,
yeah,
I
sure,
mean, it's
that
a
works.
shitty movie, but still, I mean, people know Michael Rooker, Yondu himself. People know that. Angus McFadden, he's been in a bunch of stuff, like always a side character, but I recognize him from Braveheart mostly. Braveheart, Equilibrium, the Saw films, Robert the Bruce.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
he's done it.
Okay.
Jeff Fahey, people should know Jeff Fahey. I mean,
Oh
but if you
yeah.
don't, he's guys
Yeah.
everywhere. And just
Legend.
and yeah, and there's just so many. Like those are I'd say those are like the main names. I mean, of course, and then there's well,
Abby Lee makes
okay.
a notable appearances as Mary Marigold.
Hmm.
You might recognize her from Mad Max Fury Road. She was in the Neon Demon Office Christmas Party, and most notably, she was in Old. So
Have to
if
have
you've
a
seen,
she plays a
go ahead.
I'll say she plays a hooer.
She plays a whore. She's a dirty whore.
Which people bitch about 2024 and prostitution. Like people said, prostitution and sex selling. This is as old as time itself. I mean, probably cavemen were fucking trading stones for prostitutes. Like,
Did you mention Michael Rooker as the Sergeant Major?
yeah, I forgot because it was
Okay.
Sergeant. Because yeah, like I said, him, Sam Worthington, and I forgot the first guy's name. Danny Hudson. Those are the main military guys.
Yes, that'd be the colonel, the sergeant major, and the lieutenant.
Okay, yeah.
So
And would you say that? I mean, yeah, so we really can't say that there's one main protagonist, but like, is there
no.
bad guys in this movie? Because it's hard to label who's a bad guy. It's more like people just trying to fucking survive for the most part.
Mm,
Because you could say that, well, damn, the natives are slaughtering the white people, but then white people are slaughtering Indians. So it's like, well, who's right? They're
yeah,
killing each other. It's like, every time it's like, well, it's fucked up that natives are killing kids, but then white people are killing native kids, but then the natives are killing native kids. So
yeah,
it's really hard to say. Like, there's really no bad or good guys. It's just who the fucking survived this horrible part in history, man.
yeah. Uh, so I'm guessing the story's going to unfold even further because I'm checking the IMDb page and it looks like the guy that was in the second caravan, led by what's his name? One of the what's the young guy's name? He plays the captain.
Oh, you mean
Owen
Luke Wilson?
Wilson. Yeah,
That's Luke Wilson.
yeah,
That's
that's
James'
Luke
brother.
Wilson. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
So
Once
in
you roll.
a really good serious turn for him because I usually recognize him as being funny, but in this he's Mr. Idiocracy and all that stuff. But in this he's super serious and very likable at the same time. But apparently his second right hand man, played by Will Patton, his name in the credits is Owen Kitteridge. And if you remember, the name of the family is that gets massacred in the
Yeah.
assault on the town is Kitteridge. So
Yeah.
that's gonna mean something
Yeah.
with that.
That's what I'd say. I would say that means, well, Yellowstone obviously more than me. Do you think is Yellowstone would that be considered a very action packed based show?
Oh yeah, yeah, big
Okay.
time. Yeah,
So this
big time.
one because
There's
I'm
always something. Yeah, there's
okay.
always something going on in Yellowstone for sure.
Now this because well, since you watch Yellowstone, do you think this is like basically is this like Yellowstone adjacent or something different? Because I noticed that I would say after like the opening sequence, you don't really see any kind of shooting. This film isn't Tombstone. I mean,
No.
it's not like 10 minutes of dialogue, John Wick action, 10 minutes of dialogue, John Wick action. I'd say a
Yeah.
good like hour and a half goes by where not a single gun is fired. So is this
Yeah,
like
no, it's very like when the brutality and the action happens, it happens super fast and out of the blue, and it's just brutal
yeah,
and graphic. But no, it's not. Yellowstone is very serialized.
okay,
It's one of those kind of shows that people's biggest uh, complaint is probably that there's too much action and drama on Yellowstone, but I mean that's why people watch it. But I mean, there's literally like gunfights in the streets and shit like that happening all the time, and there's always
yeah,
some kind of sex and violence happening in the film. Or excuse me, in the show. So it's definitely not, even when there's not, and there's characters just talking, it's always like high drama. In this, it's a little bit more even Shakespearean. You don't really know anyone's intentions when they're speaking to one another.
true,
You're listening to the dialogue and you're like, is this guy being shitty to this guy, or is this guy being funny? Like, you're
yeah.
not,
I know what scene you're talking about. So I'm thinking about it right now. Just one
you
scene
got
that,
you
yeah,
got brothers beating the shit out of brothers. You got
mm,
sisters or female friends, beating the shit out of each other, and
yeah,
but then putting everything on the line to protect someone's child. You know, you got kids fighting with other kids, and then later willing to die at their side. You know, and bloody gunfights. You know, you got, and you know, one of the things I like the fact that they peppered in, and it doesn't seem disingenuous. At least it did not to me. But they pepper in, like, you know, they have you know, African Americans were in you know, ensconced in some of the townships and things like that, and they're just
Yeah.
as big a part of the town as anybody else, and nobody makes you know, a thing about it. It's not weird. You know, they
Yeah.
have the Chinese Americans are there, and you know, there's some stuff where it's like it could be seen as racism, but I think I personally think it was more like practicality. It's like, you know, when the guy's
Yeah.
like, no more Chinese, but he
Oh, yeah.
he caveats and he says the foreman needs you to be able to speak English. You
Yeah.
know, so it's like the language barrier was the problem, not the fact that they're
Oh, definitely.
specifically Chinese. It's like, it's not like they could go to HR and go, "Hey, could we get a Chinese interpreter to work with these guys?" And you know, I mean, it's just pure practicality. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's stuff is man, it is it was a
I,
lot to take in.
yeah.
It's a lot to take in.
I'm glad you didn't mention that. I did want to bring up at some point, but you already mentioned that because I know, guys, it's 2024. If you're watching this, everyone's super fucking sensitive. Yes, black people can exist any Western. Yes, it can be organic to a storyline. I didn't feel having Chinese people, obviously Native Americans for the Wild West, but having black people in a setting doesn't mean it's quote unquote woke. Because remember, nowadays West, every time someone sees a fucking black person or gay person,
Yeah.
it's woke. There's not a lot of them, a few here and there, but you know, in this is pre-Civil War leading to the Civil War. So, and black people were obviously part of the Civil War. So it does make sense that there's a few of them here and there. It doesn't feel like it's some diversity checkbox. And considering Kevin Costner spent $100 million on this fucking movie, 40 million of his own budget, this is a story he wanted to tell, and it's very organic to the storyline. I don't feel like
Yeah.
I don't feel like at all he's checking any fucking boxes. And some of the marketing was talking about from Kevin Costner himself about having strong female characters. Women back then were a different kind of woman. Come on, women back then would kick the shit out of any modern guy
Sure.
in
Yeah.
comparison.
No, yeah.
Because you
Yeah,
had
for
to,
sure.
you had to, like, there's one scene, you probably remember it, where there's a mother and a little girl. She wakes up, it's like, oh, mom. And she looks down, they're just fucking scorpions. Because remember, they're out in the desert, they're in Wyoming,
Yeah.
and she grabs a fucking boot, and a mom is fucking bashing the scorpions with a fucking boot. But there was everyone had a kick-ass mom or grandma that would whoop your ass with a fucking belt. Back in 1800s, women were built different than women nowadays.
Yeah, you had two cavalry soldiers that are deathly afraid of the sergeant major's wife. You know, I mean, they're waiting for her to go to tea time with the other ladies so that they could go borrow some bedding supplies and stuff for the young refugee girl. Because they're so scared of her. They're like, you know, they walk around with guns and they're just like, yeah, we're going to be as careful as we can around this old Irish
Yeah.
biddy. So, yeah, man, no, totally, I totally get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. On
I
top
know,
of
and,
everything
and
else.
and we have to mention that just because because you know how it is, dude, with Twitter and the fucking social media. Oh my God, Kevin Costner put a strong female woman. Look how woke he is. Like, nah, dude, no. Women back then were a different breed, different stock of women than what you're used to. So just
Yeah,
because
I
it's
think
not
it's
woke,
probably I think it's probably a lot more likely that this film is going to get sort of lambasted. It may not, but it may get lambasted for someone's going to cry about the indigenous being misrepresented and you know, things of that nature. I think that's probably, if that hasn't already happened, I think it's very possible that it will happen.
yeah. Well, and we'll also mention, yes, it's a film back in 1879. You're not hearing terms like trans, non-binary, things of that nature.
Yeah,
They're not saying that the horses are on fire. They're not saying, like, whatever
right.
terms like woke. They're not saying, like, that's whatever modern. They talk like people that are from the 1800s, which I do respect that because, yeah, modern 2024 Twitter slang shouldn't be in a film about the old West,
Yeah.
which I appreciate that authenticity. Now I can only assume because you know way more about weapons than I ever will. Every time they would fire a gun, boy, I can tell you one thing: the sound. And I wish, man, I was talking to Lance about this, that I would have loved to see this film in IMAX or RPX or something, 4D, Screen X something. They played this only in standard, but the sound, even in my standard theater, when they would fucking shoot a gun, you could hear that shit. Like, these guns were loud. Which
Yeah.
I would imagine they would be back then, right? These aren't fucking modern guns. These pistols were they sounded authentic.
Yeah, for sure. It's one of those things where not only that too, I'll also say that the way in which they are used is, they're basically
Yeah,
just explosive pipes. They're what would be referred to in the 80s as like zip guns. I mean, a couple
yeah,
people had some good quality firearms. Kevin Costner's character Ellison, he has a Colt, so that's good. But I mean, this is Civil War era, so a lot of these things were just pipes with powder, and you're throwing metal down it. Like in the big firefight scene, they're just looking for metal to put together. I mean, they're literally making bullets in the middle of the firefight scene, with the Apache raid. So it's like that's how that stuff was done, and you're just pointing it in the direction of whatever it is that you have a problem with, and hoping uh that you're hitting something.
yeah. I like this one scene where there's a kid. There was a raid. And he had a gun, but when it was funny. He's shooting his pistol. The pistol kept aiming down, like he's having trouble controlling this thing, and just like
Well, they were heavy as shit
well,
too.
that's what I'm saying. It felt realistic. Where plus you see it too. You said it yourself, and I've seen this on a million different movies. Talking to friends that movie hitting a target versus real life hitting a target. Riding a fucking horse while shooting at somebody isn't easy, and you're probably gonna fucking miss 9 times out of 10. I'm
Mm.
guessing, and that I felt that too. Sometimes these guys were shooting at and running targets. They're missing 3, 4, or 5 times in a fucking row, maybe getting one lucky shot off, which I felt like
Yeah.
that added to how authentic it felt. This isn't John Wick. This is the old fucking West where you don't have the best technology, and these guys are not expert fucking marksmen.
Well, not only that, even in some of the one or two instances where you have close up gun battles happening between Kevin Costner and one of the bad guys, and you have one where the young lady is getting her kid back from the dude. I mean, hell, she hits him with a shotgun at close, point blank range while he's sleeping in bed,
Yeah.
and she hits him twice, and he's still. I mean, he's fucked up, but he's still he's still
Now,
up and around.
I
You
did want
know.
to ask you about that because I'm assuming that's the technology at the time. Do you think was that realistic or bullshit? Because I mean, it's pretty close range, but then again, these are guns 200 years ago. This isn't like a modern fucking like
Yeah.
pump action rifle military shotgun. So
No, yeah. So it comes down to a lot of things. It comes down to how well you kept the weapon. It comes down to, uh, you know, it could be a combination of things. It comes down to, did she put buckshot or birdshot in there? Was it filled with slugs? The way in which he was hit sort of made it look like she had slugs in there, which is just basically you shooting at high velocity a big piece of metal.
okay,
Whereas, with a buckshot with a big charge on it, you could spread them out and, open them up. So that doesn't look like what happened. It looked like he took two severe wounds to the upper shoulder area. And,
yeah,
you have to also account he's a big ass dude. Like the dude,
oh yeah,
like, they make a big deal about the oldest son being the head of the gang. And then when they're standing next to each other in a later scene, they're literally as big as each other, except the dad is the one that got shot. He's thick as well as being big, and they all wore all these bundled up clothes, and
yeah,
and again, like anything else, you can get lucky, just
yeah,
and then the other gunfight, Kevin Costner empties his revolver into the guy's chest, and he was still doing okay until like he finished him off at the very end. So
plus I would
whatever
say
that's
too,
worth.
back then men were also bred different, so
Men were also bred differently. Yeah, that's for sure. 100%.
um yeah, so I mean that's I said it's that's the basic storyline. I mean, not trying to be vague or just like not much we can say about it. It's not really there's not really one set storyline. It's not one direction. It just said it's like Kevin Costner's point of view, different actors' point of view. You have like sometimes 5 different actors. Like sometimes you have like the natives' point of view, but then like I said, Luke Wilson, they have a caravan that they're traveling west, their point of view. So you are shifting between different points of view throughout the entire film. For some people, that could be jarring, but like that's I wouldn't say the film doesn't have one main storyline. It's like I really can't tell anybody what's the plot. Uh,
Yeah.
Different people surviving pre-Civil War Wyoming, and then also some Kansas too is peppered in there.
Well,
Wyoming, Kansas.
that's the Kansas Trail. That's the Santa Fe Trail. It's a big
Okay,
trail out here that interconnects a lot of
glad you know
states.
that,
Yeah, well, I mean, I live here. So
dude. I don't know shit about New York.
that's fair. That's fair. But yeah, no, it's definitely one of those things where I feel like as the story progresses, they're going to interconnect. Like I said,
Yeah.
just looking at the IMDb page, we see that, Will Patton's
Are
character
you
is.
serious? God
That's
damn,
what
boy.
IMDb says, my brother.
Boy, I mean, it had good on him. Wow.
But yeah, no, it's definitely you got to pay attention. I don't know how well received this is going to be, and then we'll get to that. But I just is it something that people are willing to go and just enjoy and not have a good bow tie ending to it, and then
Hmm.
put in the kind of, I mean, yeah, Lord of the Rings did fine coming out 1 year after each one.
Yeah.
And back in the day, people would wait 3 years for another Star Wars film. I doubt they would still do that.
Yeah.
But would they do this for this Kevin Costner, passion project? I don't know. I really don't know. My theater was full, so
Mine was
and
about half.
mine was full on a Thursday afternoon, so
Okay.
whatever that's worth. But
Yeah.
it was in one of the smaller screenings.
Yeah.
So I really just don't know.
One thing, I mean, I'm assuming practical effects here and there, but I didn't get any sense of any fucking CGI. I can't find any real. I'll tell you one thing. This film has a shit ton of open wide shots. I'll try to stuff like this, and
Yeah,
it doesn't feel
beautiful.
doesn't feel digital. It felt like they were actually on set. Like if they said this film cost 100 million, probably just was just fucking filming these big ass shots. And I didn't see if there was CGI. I didn't notice it, and maybe that's because it's such good CGI because the days before Disney, like. But like a film like this costs 100 million versus like The Acolyte, we could see why this would cost 100 million. I didn't I didn't notice any kind of digital effects, any kind of like fake blood or nothing. Everything felt like maybe squibs or just if there was CG, I'd have to watch the second time. But it's like you said,
Yeah,
the
I'd
action,
need somebody smarter than me to be able to point
yeah.
out if
Well, the action
if
is
there
so fucking
was.
quick, and it's so much is going on sometimes. Not in a bad way, but that's how I guess realistic gunfights would be back then. You're not seeing fucking Bad Boys or John Wick.
Yeah.
Trying to think what else. Yeah, I mean, hmm, that's basically all I can really say about the plot. It's just it's not a complex plot by any means, and there's a lot of characters, and as you said, I at one point just fucking sprinted to the bathroom and came back because some films you can, oh yeah, here's an action scene, I'll come back in like 2 minutes or something. This movie,
Yeah.
there's so much going on that like you really just want to, if when it comes on digital, sit at home and watch this film because you have so
Yeah.
many different fucking viewpoints and characters and shit going on. It's very plot heavy, lot of dialogue, and yeah, for a 3 hour film, and it's almost like a Lord of the Rings film. It's you don't want to fucking go to you don't want to go to the bathroom.
If you're the kind of person that needs a lot of exposition dumps, if you need your handheld in order to follow a story, this movie's definitely not for you.
Yeah.
It's definitely a show don't tell. Like you're not sure who's. Yeah, I still don't know. Am I supposed to root for the indigenous
Uh,
people that are
that's a good point.
protecting their land? Am I supposed to? I mean, you're an indigenous person. Like, how did this pull off? My great grandfather, probably great grandfather, was one of those cavalry sergeants.
Yeah.
Coming over from Ireland and losing a baby to smallpox and fighting in the Civil War so like I have a sympathy for that. And of course, I'm going to have a sympathy for, a guy that's just trying to raise his land. And, I do take issue with a couple things. I take a major issue with, maybe it'll be explained in a later thing, but like why the Apache what specifically provoked them other than a hot-headed younger chief clans, the head of the clan wanting to take the fight to the whites. Okay, if that's not really clearly stated, was there an instigating incident that kicked this off that we're going to see later? Why are these people like throwing their bodies? It's sort of touched on by the colonel at one point with a little bit of exposition, but
Yeah.
like, why are these people just willing to throw their lives away to come out for this land? I've also watched the Yellowstone prequels and spinoffs and stuff like 1883 and 1923, which, by the way, if you're a fan of those, a lot of the actors from those shows do do pop up in here. I couldn't name them. Don't ask me. You're gonna have to Google it yourself. But if you'll recognize a lot of faces from those shows, they crop up in here. But like these people are just basically just throwing their lives
Yeah.
at this dream of land, and I get it. But again, the way in which they do it is really weird to me. And on the flip side, to my not really understanding the indigenous attacks and stuff like that, I guess maybe we could headcanon that some of the stuff that like the headhunter guys, the tracker guys are doing is stuff
Yeah.
that's been going on, and this is a response to that. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
But then the flip
Hmm.
side to this, and this is a major issue I had with this, is, and I don't doubt that it's accurate, but it really just chafed my ass. Like I have lived in obviously terrible, terrible places. I've had, I've been base security at even worse places. And, a lot of the places I was sent to in Iraq and Africa and Afghanistan and stuff like that, all of those places, they would refer the colloquialism is Indian country, which means like you are really surrounded. There's an old cavalry saying, which is when you see Indians, be careful. When you don't see Indians, be twice as careful. So, these people, like I get it. They work hard and, but they're having like a barn party and playing the fiddle. And I'm like, dude, who is on Overwatch? Like they have like one guy with a rifle hanging out, it's just like, dude, why you guys can't just rely on, see, and it is touched on a little bit. There's a part when they circle the wagons when they're on the trail and the captain is like, listen,
They
I
say
don't mind.
one.
Yeah, he's like, if you want to stand guard, I don't fault you for it, but we're gonna have 14-hour days. Well, listen, you need
Yeah.
to have like security all the time because the people who are gonna raid you, yeah, I don't know if there is one. The people who are gonna raid you, they're not gonna go on, they're not working 9 to 5 hours. They're gonna come in when you are, and each
Oh,
time that there's
definitely.
a big attack, when does it happen?
Nighttime.
Hell, when does it happen? When does the girl attack the guy to get the baby back? She comes when he's in bed sleeping. I mean, hell,
Yeah.
that's the best time to attack somebody when they're in their bed sleeping.
I do
So,
like that point of view when you get to like Luke Wilson in the wagon. The wagons are the whole, is it the Santa Fe Trail? Is it?
yeah,
During that Santa Fe Trail, just imagine number one, supplies. It was one point. It's so much to talk about, but like basically, it's like supplies are limited. Water. When's next time we're gonna see water? I don't know. I don't know. Neither do we. But okay, water is kind of scarce. Food is scarce, and at any time period you're looking around, you have one scout next. And like they always say, one scout hey, there's a second scout, and there's probably about 30 more scouts too. At any time period, 24/7, these fuckers could attack, and like yeah, you have like a little wagon group of people and about 1,000 natives just gonna come there and gun you to fuck down and scalp your entire family like and top of scorpions trying to eat you and shit. It just oh my god, man.
it just seems like, and again, like I said, I was a big fan of 1883, and they do touch on a lot of these problems that the people have, the amount of difficulty that they have in traversing, the wild open land, and bandits and raiders and rogue Native Americans, warring parties, things of that nature, and then just the elements as well. However, that being said, like one of their main issues that they have in this is them not being vigilant and just like, did they think that like they were just going to have a town and then like everyone was just going to leave them alone? Is that what they thought? Did they? I mean, they're not foreigners. They see,
Yeah.
and they all had guns. So it just,
Yeah.
it also pissed me off, that scene when they are being raided and they have like a contingency of people who made it out of town.
Yeah.
I feel like they could have maybe done, they could have held their ground, and the guy's like, no, we're not getting involved. Like they're lost to us. Like we're
Yeah.
not, like, are you serious?
Hmm.
Like you guys need to get down there and help your people out.
Yeah, I mean,
So
I took it as there's one good scene you remember this probably remember this well with Danny Huston here, and he's talking to Sam Worthington and Michael Rooker about they're showing the flyer, and he said like how the Indian like you're saying the soldiers are kind of spread thin, so they can't keep constantly monitoring all these
right.
Indian attacks. So he says he's like yeah here's the flyer for this big thing called Horizon. It's this dream and. From the native standpoint, if the natives keep killing people and killing people, the more people they kill, it'll be a deterrent from more people, trying to escape to Horizon. but his big speech was essentially that, well, we're coming from England. We're trying to be free men. We're trying to get away from tyranny. This is like, no matter how much you may kill people, just that hope of like a better life will be more an incentive than how much you keep killing them from the natives. I'm assuming at this point in history where natives, I mean, they've been there since Columbus, and a couple hundred years went by for oppression and being butchered. They're probably just like sick of it, and they're probably just fucking killing people, just thinking that, the more we kill the white man, the more they won't come here, which, it doesn't happen, but that's probably in their mindset. We'll keep killing these people. They'll stop coming out here, but it doesn't. I think that could be maybe the only real plot of this film is just that these settlers want to keep settling Wyoming and Kansas, and I guess that's it. Just the natives keep just killing them to like deter them, but they're not going to be stopped. I mean,
Well,
that's like, I guess,
there's a scene early on where a couple of the homesteaders, who I assume must have been scouts of some kind because they were by
yeah,
themselves, the guy and the little boy are, taking measurements and stuff, and the young Indian scouts are watching them, and they don't even know what they're doing. Like the one kid is like speaking with authority, but the other one's like, "What are they doing?" And he's like, they're playing a game. They put a stick in the ground and then they stand next to it." And it's like they have like no concept, because in their mind they have no concept of ownership of the land. They don't, at least not in the way that we did. And I think that's what, a lot of the issues came from, is that, there's not their concepts of culture, just it just didn't match with ours. So yeah. Hey, Farrell, how are you, buddy?
yeah, sure.
Yes, I loved 1883 as well. I thought it was great. If you liked
Oh,
1883, you'll like this.
that's what we're saying, Farrell. This isn't the only film this year where, much like Bike Riders. Bike Riders. Funny how Bike Riders and Horizon both come out in the same month and both have a similar tone to them in a sense that, wonder who the main
When you
actors
say
are.
tone, do you mean skin tone, blue collar loser?
I'm not sure what I'm talking about, but
Hmm.
it's just funny how two films come out in June and just it's amazing. And these were scheduled. I saw one trailer back in July. I mean, it was July, January, and
Yeah.
For Horizon, I've only seen seen one trailer the past 6 months for Horizon. And if it wasn't for talking to Lance and you and everybody else, I wouldn't have known this film was coming out because no one's
Yeah.
marketing it. No one's, and as we keep doing as well, I'm kind of just tired of hearing about the fucking Acolyte. Let's talk about Horizon. Let's talk about the Bike Riders. Let's talk about something besides the Acolyte.
Yes.
But,
Yes, please. Yes,
you know,
please.
it's but
I
yeah, no,
think I think this was another one of our picks that, at least for me, I saw the preview when we were seeing another movie. And that's when I think I saw this preview during Bike Riders, maybe, or the movie
hmm,
we did before Bike Riders.
yeah,
So yeah, that's how come I'm knowing about it. I was peripherally, excuse me,
what else?
aware of
Wow,
it. But
fancy words, man. How you doing?
yeah, sorry. I was nominally aware of it through some of the things, but yeah, it's definitely not. It's kind of hard now to justify the amount, the lack of uh you know visibility that these movies are getting. You really got to just go, look, man, why are these things not being pushed? You know,
Hmm,
so, and again,
yeah,
and also, is like I told you, in my theater, it was in one of the small theaters. They had Inside Out 2, and for the movie theater I go to, the Regal Cinema Southwind, has 8 screens,
okay,
right? And 4 of those screens were Inside Out 2.
wow.
So make of that what you will.
And also, I mean, come on, objectively, I mean, we're just you, me, or just the bottom 1% of people on YouTube. Boy, if only I had like 100,000 subscribers that I was telling half my audience, hey guys, little film out here you may have heard of called Horizon. Why not check it out? Versus making 20 more Rings of Power is a shit show video, which it's going to be a shit show, but keep making videos on Rings of Power. You
Yeah.
know, let's say Jeffy, yeah, he's in as well. But yeah. So as we'll wrap it up in a couple more in about 10 minutes, as we always do. And so Sam Worthington, I mean, I know you're not a fan of the Avatar films. Most people feel like he's a bad actor, but like he doesn't have a lot of screen time in this film. Do you feel like anybody, the term is phoned it in? I didn't feel like there was a
I don't
single
think
like
so. No, yeah,
yeah.
definitely no, no, no,
Yeah,
definitely
I
not.
didn't feel like there's any bad performances. I mean, again, Sam Worthington, he doesn't have much to do, but I think the airtime that he had, his character was pretty good. He's just playing a military man. that's stretched thin. I mean, these guys they're in a very bad situation. And he does say, like, well, he makes different lines about, trying to keep it peaceful with the indigenous people. It's like, stop provoking them, stop, like, the more you keep killing them, the more you're gonna fucking piss them off. He is trying to avoid, because I think at one point, the Hutton guy there, what was he? He's a captain and Michael Rooker's the lieutenant.
No.
Sorry,
Michael Rooker is a sergeant or sergeant
okay,
major.
okay. And then who's the highest
The
rank guy? The colonel. Okay,
Danny Houston is the colonel.
Danny
So
Houston.
he would be he's in charge of all of the troops. Then the lieutenant would
Yeah,
be in charge of one platoon, and
yeah,
then the sergeant major would be underneath the colonel, and he would be the assistant to the lieutenant.
yeah. Because at one point, Sam Worthington has
Excuse me.
he has one line of dialogue where he's like, if you piss these guys off, he's like, they can come down here and just wipe us all the fuck out. You're saying
Yeah.
because of the sheer numbers of natives, like, even if you guys had guns, still there's the numbers are not on your side, so they're trying their best to keep it as peaceful as they can.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think that, I mean, some actors do get more screen time than others, but no, I don't think anybody did or gave a bad performance. I wouldn't say, like, no kind of a dry comedy, and yeah, I mean, just said there's not a lot of action scenes. When the action scenes are there, they're very fast, precise, not any kind of big, like, 200 Indians fighting 200 white guys. It doesn't happen like that. They're very just like
No.
one on one, maybe 2 or 3 on 1. That's it. So
Yeah. It definitely. I mean, there is some good at big old action set pieces, but I mean,
hmm,
they really have consequences. Like, it's not it's not a thing where it's like, oh yeah, we went on this thing, we lost one of our guys. It's like, dude, when things happen, they happen fast and they happen ugly, and it's the consequences are super duper high for it.
yeah,
So
I
yeah.
mean, except for seeing, like, maybe, like, what, at one point, like, yeah, like 20 wagons right here. That's like the biggest set piece you're gonna see. So you're not seeing these
Yeah.
big, like, Lord of the Rings fucking battles. It's not like that. So
Yeah.
that's it. To say, in terms of spoilers, I mean, come on, this is part 1 and part 2. There's not really a spoiler in the sense that, I mean, is it fair to say that the film leaves off on a cliffhanger? Like, because this is part 1 of
Uh
part 2.
yeah, I mean, not in a cliffhanger in the traditional sense.
Yeah.
It definitely felt like we're watching an epic, like, continuate, like they kind of did the same thing that, I don't know how many of the Lord of the Rings films you saw in the theater when they came out,
Well, I saw
or
3
even
of them.
like the Back to the Future films.
Yeah.
It doesn't even give you any scroll dialogue. It just went right into showing you clips and scenes from chapter 2.
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of how they ended it. And it happens out of nowhere. Like, it's a blanket if you miss it. Like, did the
It's
movie just stop? Like, what's happening right now?
they give him a Rocky montage.
Basically, yeah, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, so the ending of the film, because I mean, we're not gonna worry about spoiling it, because the ending is just a montage leading into the second film. That's the ending. I mean, so we don't know what's going to happen next. They don't
Yeah. No,
present anything to
I
this
have
point.
no clue. I don't even know all of the, like, you know, what is it that we just watched? Like, is the one girl that took the bastard baby away, like, is she dead? What's happening to the girl that she was caring? Like, when they left her and she was in the clutches of the gang, she's praying and she's saying, like, oh God, and then we don't see her again. So do we just infer that, like, she was killed by that gang of the guy that was essaying her that she shot and took the baby away from? I assume we infer
Yeah.
that the husband that she had picked up had died after he was, beaten over the head with the pistols. I assume that, but like a lot of stuff, it's just like, more stuff's going to get revealed as we go along. Like I said, like the Will Patton thing,
Yeah.
he's actually kin to people who were already out there. So you could headcanon he's like an uncle or a grandfather, and he was coming out to help support his family, and now he's going to come out and find out that they're basically all gone. So
Mm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, it's films like this is part 1 of a saga, so it's like almost like saying, well, how do you rate, like, any film that's part 1 out of part 3? Like, it's like, is this a good
yeah,
film?
and
Is it?
unlike some of the ones that I mentioned, like, you
Yeah.
could watch Back to the Future and not see the other two and be fine.
Well,
You can,
Pharaoh part 2 is officially coming out in August. Now, in terms of part 3 or part 4, I'm not sure, but the second one will be out August 12th or 13th. So the first
yeah,
one and the second one are done.
yes,
What happens after that, I'm not sure. So we definitely get it part 2, which should answer a lot of these questions. And it's like, yeah, sometimes it does suck that like it is hard to judge this in a sense that because it's leading into a second film, and like Lord Toxic saying, a lot of things will get answered once you watch the second movie. That's a problem.
yes.
So
I
there's a
mean,
lot of
I'm
well,
presuming that.
hopefully,
I
yeah.
don't. Yeah, I can't say for sure. Are they really doing 4 movies, or have they shut it? I have no idea. I can't
Yeah, we
believe
don't
they're
know.
going to do 4 or 5 Avatar movies. So don't ask me to like figure
Well,
that
we
out.
know what's gonna come down to. Part 2 is a definite. Anything after that depends on how well this does at the box office, but
Sure.
that's all we can say. So we'll do a rating system, but also, as you said, will audiences warm up to an epic western in the summer of 2024? Also, a western that doesn't have a main protagonist, doesn't have a like clear, concise, cohesive, whatever storyline. There's
That's all right.
a lot of exposition. Like you said, a lot of
Sorry, folks.
following.
We sat through a 3-hour epic, and we both
Yeah.
have a case of the mumbles. I swear to
Um,
God, we're not drunk. I haven't even drank anything.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, because people, people do like, they do love Godzilla versus Kong, how simple and stupid it is. People like John
Sure.
Wick. This is not a simple movie. It's not a I would say a clear cut movie. There's a lot
Yeah.
going on. You better pay the fuck attention.
So I just real quick before we go to the ratings review, I'm wondering. I brought up a couple nitpicks that I had. Did you have anything that you were watching it just kind of bothered you, or
No, it's just more like, I wouldn't say bother me, but just more like I was curious, like, yeah, who the fuck's the main character? Like that.
yeah,
It's like I said, it felt to me like that was the biggest complaint with Dunkirk, because Dunkirk is a fantastically shot film. It's a great war movie, but you're not sure who you're following.
yeah,
And that's how I felt with this. So, but this may be played out for the second film. So that was my main, not nitpick, but just like I'm paying attention. Where okay, I just don't know who the five main characters are, because there is no five main characters. This is a massive fucking ensemble piece. So as we said before, if you're thinking that Kevin Costner's the main character, he's not. There's no main character at all.
yeah.
But, all right, buddy. So here we go. You want to start off?
I'll let you take the reins, my friend.
Did I like it? Yes, I did like it. It's a very good movie, very well acted movie, very well directed. Did I love it? I may have to watch this movie a second time, because it is. It's like almost like saying any kind of a saga film like Lord of the Rings. I wasn't the biggest fan of Fellowship of the Ring the first time, but as I watched it more, I started loving it more. I do think this movie will get better on another rewatch. So I did like it a lot. And yeah, I mean, so do I love it? I'm not sure if I love it yet, just because of the the main issue I had was, what am I supposed to be loving? But I do love how gritty, how raw it is, how realistic, how fucking violent. And I do love the fact that I'm not sure who the fuck I'm rooting for, because it's so complex. So I did like it a lot, and yeah, that's all I can really say about my number one question.
I hear you. You're gonna do all three, or do you want me to jump in with with
I'll
me
offer to
doing?
if you want to go back to one.
Sure, I can. Did I like it? Yes, I liked it quite a bit. I liked it quite a bit. It was jarring. I didn't have any trouble following, but I can definitely see how you would. I am a huge fan of 1883, so this is much in the vein of that. If if that makes any sense, I don't like to just use one form of media to describe another form of media, but I mean that's really the best thing that I can say. At first, I was a little concerned. I'm like, is this going to be
Oh,
a Force Awakens where Kevin Costner just doesn't show up till the final act? And I was like, yikes! But
well,
that's not what it was. That
see what
didn't
Farrell
happen.
says toxic. Yeah, trust me, you'll be guessing, dude.
Yeah, it's going to keep you guessing.
Yeah.
I did like the brutality of. I like stuff like Deadwood and 1883 stuff that shows it wasn't so. Even you could even take something like Tombstone and go, oh look, it's kind of it's kind of cool to be in the old west, even with some brutality and stuff. It's still a polished piece. There's nothing polished about this.
Oh
People
no,
walking
fuck
over planks of wood to get
Take a piss.
across, guys are taking pisses out
Yep.
in the open, pissing in the little tributary thing. It's brutality. So yes, I definitely liked it.
Okay, number 2. Would I recommend this film? 100% yes, and hopefully this week, because my kid, he got busy with some stuff with my mother, but I do want to take my kid to see this. I definitely, and Lord Toxin knows this. Anybody knows this with me. Sometimes, like The Prestige, I'd watch that film 30 times before I understood what the fuck was going on. And I will
Yeah.
admit that there's plenty of shit I miss on the first time. That's my appeal, my idiocy. But I would definitely recommend it, and probably I will pick up on a lot more things on a second watch. But yes, this is a Kevin Costner. Not that it matters, but it's a passion project. There's nothing woke. There's no DEI check marks. Check boxes. It's a and again the wide shots are fucking fantastic. Everything I'm assuming said talking to Lord Toxic with the weapon handling to the fights. It just felt like a really just raw organic like good old fashioned western, and it does feel like a western epic. So I damn sure would recommend it, and I do want to see this a second time.
Oh wow, you're gonna sit through it again, huh?
Hopefully, if I get some time during this week, maybe Tuesday or something, because
Oof,
what helps my kid's out of school right now, so he's got the summer off, so it's gonna help out with that. But yeah, it's a
man.
long fucking movie.
Yeah, I don't know that I can sit in the theater for this again, man. This was like this. It was
Plus,
rough.
I'm not paying
Yeah.
for it, but
Well, I hear you. Would I recommend it? Yes, I would definitely recommend this. I would recommend this because even though it's left on a pseudo cliffhanger and it's part of an ongoing series, I definitely think it's worth it. I would love to see more movies like this get made, and I think you'll get something out of the experience by seeing it on the big screen. So I'm very happy with that. I'm going to
yeah,
recommend this as far and wide as I can. Like, we talked about
yeah,
in the green room, I'm double streaming this to get it out there, and I'm definitely going to
yeah.
push it as hard as I can. Because
Well,
I would like to see more stuff like this. I hope we go
yeah.
back to this kind of filmmaking.
Not to cut you off because we keep talking about this stuff. Remember, social media. Hey guys, we're sick and tired of sequels, requels,
Right.
remakes,
Right.
spin-offs, blah, blah, blah. This is a brand fucking new
Yep.
IP, not
Yep.
based on a book and not based on anything. It's a brand new IP. So when the usual people out there saying, I'm so sick and tired of the same old shit. Well,
Well,
here's
guess
a
what?
there you
Go
go.
go see
Yeah.
the first chapter of The Horizon, American Western Story or whatever it's
Yeah.
called. No, nobody was stopping you from seeing Land of Bad. No,
Or the bike
we went,
riders.
or the Bike Riders, even though the
Yeah.
Bike Riders wasn't super great, but
I mean,
still, like,
but I don't regret going to see it though.
no, neither do I to an extent, but I wouldn't watch it again. But yeah, this is
Yeah.
I would watch this again, but I need more, like, I need my I need to be sitting in my Crocs on my couch watching
Oh,
this on my big
Oh,
screen TV. Like,
this would be a very great Saturday, or if you had a Sunday off, man, you wanna fucking grab some
sure,
beers and sit back on a Sunday and watch this shit? Oh, yeah, definitely.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, number 3, I mean, I'm pretty sure I know what you're gonna say, but should you spend your hard-earned money? Because I didn't pay for this shit, but yes, if I paid for this film, I would have been very pleased, and yes, I would recommend going to see this in theaters because of the action, the wide shots, how loud the fucking guns are, and how gritty and brutal and raw this film is. I damn sure would recommend seeing this movie in theaters because, and like Lord Toxic said, people keep bitching about, oh, what happened to westerns? What happened to all this original stuff? The old school movies aren't getting made anymore. That doesn't have DEI or woke bullshit. Here's a fucking film that feels like it came out of 1985.
Yeah, no, for
So
sure, absolutely. I could not agree with you more. I want you to go out and spend your money on this. Like, I encourage everybody. Yes, it would be easier to catch it on streaming. I understand that, but I really think if your bladder can hold out, go. I mean, honestly, it's that thing I've been bitching about, and I'm probably going to keep bitching about this. The movie should start 15 minutes, no later than 15 minutes than the advertised showtime.
mine was 35 minutes.
Yeah,
I
mine was
timed it.
45 minutes.
Whoa,
45
shit.
minutes. I barely made it here on time in order to
God.
do this. So yeah, it was nothing but trailers and then it had a little ad break
An
and then
ad
did 3 more trailers. So it's
popcorn.
just like, and it's not that I don't appreciate the trailers. It's just the fact that, like, we could watch trailers on YouTube anytime we want. I
Our
almost kind of,
phones. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So it's just I'm almost to the point of, like, we could probably just do away with them, especially if it's going to be a thing where like, it's advertised at 3 o'clock and the movie doesn't start until 3:45. Like that's crazy, dude.
Well, that's what I'm saying, Farrell. People, that's what said myself, Only Toxic would say that. Plus, me promoting Regal app is that, yes, I do take my money, blue collar, very seriously. Gas prices, damn sure, 4th of July is coming up. They're going to be fucking tripling the gas prices in New York. So, Inside Out is going to maybe do $1 billion. Godzilla versus Kong did well. It's, you said, Chris, would you spend $15 to see this? Yeah, I would actually. If you want to see a raw, good Western and original IP, like where Toxic said, yes, it's always easier to sit home, but like the point is, people still, for our circle, people we're talking to, do we want to go to the movies? I still want to support stuff. So yeah, I would. I have no problem dropping whatever $13 for a ticket to go see this.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I really encourage anybody and everybody to spend their money on this. It's worth it. It's definitely worth it. I get it. It's a dangerous proposition, especially with something being so long. But give it a chance. Like seriously, you gotta stick your neck out there for something, and this is definitely worth it, at least in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Well, here's a rating system, my friend. Of course, stuff that I can't fucking afford, but so
Yeah.
we have our top shelf liquor, middle shelf, and the stuff I drink, bottom shelf.
Okay.
But how would I rate Horizon and American Saga Part 1? But for me, hands down, no, a top shelf movie. Damn sure highly recommend it. And said I do not see a lot of films, even with my Regal app, especially 3-hour fucking movies, more often twice in theaters. But I'm hoping this week I could find some kind of a 3-hour block to go see this. But I would damn sure consider this a top shelf movie, and I'm looking forward to seeing part 2. And that's it. It's top shelf for me.
Yeah, top shelf for me as well. And basically just for all the reasons that you said, I agree. I definitely would. I'm excited. What did you say? August? Is it mid August, late
I
August,
think
or what?
I'm pretty sure it's August 16th. Let me check it up real quick before we head out
Okay,
of
so
here.
about mid August. Yeah, I want to see where the story's going. I hope that IMDb thing is wrong and
Oh,
there's not 4
yeah.
features involved in this. But I guess, I mean, it could be because man, there is a lot of plot threads going on with this. I mean, I know obviously I'm not stupid. I know everybody's going to converge
Yeah.
on the town, but for this in and of itself, yeah, man, it's definitely top shelf. Would I have liked it to be resolved? Sure. But it kept me on my toes. It kept me entertained. And,
Mm,
when it comes on streaming, I'm definitely going to watch it again or however it's available.
yeah.
So, yeah, it's top shelf for me too, man.
Yeah. Horizon Part 2 is officially August 16th.
Okay.
Now it said, and will we get more? Well, it depends on the box office. It's as I shared this and talked with our buddy Lance about this. The records and the tracking was like a low 12 million. I hope this does. I mean, this movie, let's be honest, it's not going to make $1 billion. No fucking way. It just doesn't have the audience for that. But I would like to see it just Kevin Costner get his money back because people keep bitching. We're not getting nothing original. Here's something original. Go support it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, man. Anything else? I'm not sure what's next on our maybe Deadpool's next, but I'm not sure. Oh,
I
Twister
am.
too. So
Yeah, I would assume Twisters. That movie from the trail. Okay, yes, I was bitching about the trailers. However, that being said, I definitely thought the
oh,
Josh what's it's called? What's his name? How do you say his name? Josh fuck. He was such a 90s dreamboat.
Hartnett.
Josh Hartnett, thank you so much.
Okay.
God, why was that so hard for me to do?
Yeah.
Um Josh Hartnett is kind of having like this revival after he was in Oppenheimer and a couple other things. He's kind of popping up all over the place. And I got to tell you, this M Night Shyamalan movie, and keep in mind, I do not like M Night Shyamalan at all. But this movie that I saw advertised looks amazing.
What's it called again? Look it up for you.
It's called Trap.
Trap. Okay. Let's see Trap.
So the basic premise
I
is
didn't.
him taking this basic dad is taking his daughter to a concert for
I did
like a.
not see the trailer, dude.
You
Huh.
didn't see the trailer? Oh,
No.
watch the trailer.
Okay.
It's him
Weird.
taking his daughter to a concert,
Yeah.
and during the concert they lock the place down because they know they got a serial killer in there somewhere, and he's got to figure out a way to get out of there.
Yeah.
So it's like going to be interesting, like see who you're rooting for.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know when that's coming in. But
Let's see. Release
yeah.
date. Right now. This comes out August 2nd.
Okay, so yeah,
Yeah.
like a little bit before chapter 2.
Yeah, I mean, and Twisters comes out, let's see, July 19th. So
Okay.
probably that's your first.
Well,
I'm actually gonna,
my
yeah.
Regal app is telling me that the next thing we probably should have on deck is going to be when did you say Twisters was?
July 19th.
Okay. I think Deadpool's before that.
No, they put Deadpool, which is dumb, July 26th. Put Deadpool. Why Deadpool isn't on the fucking 4th of July is weird to me, but they put Deadpool July 26th. Like, damn.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
definitely,
I don't
Carol. I'm happy as hell
I
we're getting nobody too.
I could be talked into if you're interested, it's
Hmm.
completely up to you. I could be talked into Kinds of Kindness. Just because I'm
And
such a huge
Enzo saw that.
okay, let's see what he has to say about it. But I could be talked into that, and then we could have more to talk about on Sunday. But that's completely up to you.
What kinds of kindness? I didn't. Again, I'm not.
It's one of those weird thriller movies,
Yeah.
kind of like it's kind of the same guy that did that other weirdo movie with Emma Stone. Um, it's that same kind of thing, except I think it's set in the 80s, maybe.
Just say I swear, dude. It's like I watched fucking 35 minutes of trailers. None of this shit's popping up. I'm seeing
Wow, that's
Twister,
weird.
Deadpool, Quiet Place, came out, like Despicable Me, but
Sure,
like
sure.
um this one new, like, I guess Hindi film July 4th called Kill looks kind of, interesting with
Hmm.
the special effects. But hey, buddy, the bear, yeah, I've heard about the bear. I know it's just like it's so many TV
Um,
shows, dude.
Yeah. Oh, The Bear, the TV show. Yeah, The Bear.
Almost
I've seen season 1. I've not seen season 2. Well, listen, July 4th, Maxine is coming out. That's the third movie in the X trilogy. X, Pearl, and Maxine, all with the same main character,
Huh, okay. I mean, I've
Mia
heard of it,
Goth.
but
Mia
all
Goth.
right.
This one's set in the 80s. How have you not heard
Oh,
about any of these movies? You see like
I'm t-
1,000 movies.
that's what I'm saying. It's killing me. It's like I'm seeing what the app shows me and fucking them like trailers, but
Okay, well we can go over
even
it on
yeah,
after in the green room afterwards.
and
But yeah, there's a few things coming up that I could be enticed into doing. I got in for
yeah.
free today, so
Hmm,
all I wind up spending money, and I got a free popcorn because I didn't use my points on my birthday.
yeah,
So I got a free popcorn and I got a half off of a slushy. So
yeah.
today wasn't too bad as far as that goes.
What kills me,
But
dude, even like two of my malls, not even fucking. I'm trying to find a mall that's playing kind. I have four malls and not one's playing Kinds of Kindness. What the
oh
fuck, man?
wow,
And
well
I
it's
mean,
not.
consider,
Yeah. Oh, it is.
weird, man.
Yeah, it's out. It's out now. Yeah.
No, it's we'll talk about it later then because I mean, just the fact that my app, my Regal app's not even popping up these fucking movies. Like, I mean, all I'm seeing is a Quiet Place, and Horizon,
Weird.
and Bike Riders.
Weird.
All right,
Well,
cool.
anyway, so yeah, definitely, guys, please
Ooh,
support these kind of films. It's definitely worth your time.
yeah,
I liked it. Blue Collar liked it. That's not always
yeah,
the case, but I was
yeah.
pretty happy.
Yeah, you're never gonna see echo chamber because if we dislike something or don't agree, we'll be vocal about it. So, all right, yeah, but no, Richard Farrell, anybody, not Enzo, but
Black Knives, Black Lives. Thank you guys for
yeah,
foregoing
yeah.
the what the is the presidential debate happening right now? Who gives a
Well,
shit?
I forget, fuck that. Yeah, it's
Who gives a shit?
yeah.
Thank you
I'm
guys
not.
for spending a little time with us and listening to this.
Yeah,
I hope we didn't sour anybody on it. But again, final thoughts. If you liked 1883, you'll like this. If you like beautiful westerns, we both gave it the top shelf moniker. So for whatever that's worth,
yeah. All right, guys, we are out. We'll see you for. We'll figure next movie out.
say the thing. Say the thing.
I forgot.
Like, comment, and
Oh
subscribe.
God, oh,
Share
Jesus,
on all
my
the
bad.
stuff.